Hey, this is Billy Childs from Brittany Fox, and you're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmick Voice.
Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 8, Episode 17. I am here with my co-host, Chris Natalini.
What's going on, everybody?
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to another show. Chris, how are you,
Mick,
sir?
I am doing fantastical. How about you, bro?
Fantastical as well. It's great to hear. Great to hear.
Nice.
We are. Things look good at the top of the world, don't they?
At the time of recording this, we are in a little bit of a warm spell, semi-warm. Well, listen, I guess anything warmer than what we were dealing with, or anything more than what we were dealing with, even at 2 degrees, is warmer than what we had. But we are experiencing a little warmth right now.
That's true.
At the time of recording this. Do you have any snow at your house? Is all your snow gone?
No, snow is gone. Snow is gone.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Probably when this airs, it will already be spring, but it looks like we may have an early spring.
Do you know what monkey balls are?
Monkey balls? Is that the...
Yeah, they're like there's little spiky things that come off a tree.
Yeah.
So I know people call them different things. We call them monkey balls. Well, after the snow melted, I don't even have a tree on my property. My neighbor does. The snow melted, and I said to my wife, I'm like, where in God's name did all these monkey balls come from? Like, my entire lawn is filled with monkey balls. So now I got to go out and rake into the street. Like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
I was out earlier today in the sun, and I got more branches and twigs down. I mean, you can't see nothing but twigs, and I've just been going around doing that collection for a while. But like you said, we're heading into the right direction, the right and perfect season. If they could just move Christmas for real to the warmer months, I'll be okay with it. It's all right.
Would you like your Christmas in July to really be Christmas?
I think I would, yeah. At this point, I'm done with that whole other season of cold. Because you know what happens? The holidays kind of gear you up for the cold coming. So it's not so bad because, you have the string of Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. For 4 months, you got stuff going on. The cold is kind of like, it's just adding to the season, right? Because, with you bring out your hoodies, you got your pumpkin spice happening, it's kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? So it all seems good. But then right after the first of the year, boom! That's it. It hits, and it hits hard, just like it did this year. I mean, there are people still... You can drive around. I say it every year. March, April, there's still people that have some Christmas decorations up. There's a house. Yep. They got the giant wreaths all over the place still up. Because you know what? Following the holidays, we were hit with one snowstorm after another, ice and cold. Nobody's going outside anymore. That's it. They'll say, you know what? We'll wait till Easter to take them down. Wait till Easter. But you're not going to have that problem in July. If you want to wait a couple more months, it's still nice in October. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then, okay, so let me ask you this. So if you want to move Christmas to July, what do you do with New Year's? Do you keep New Year's January 1st?
Yeah, that's because you can't do anything about the month. You can't change the month.
Right. Okay. So you can kind of keep your Christmas decorations up as it starts to get into the fall. Like you can go from July to September.
Listen, if your Christmas is more of a religious holiday, it didn't really happen in December anyway. So it was probably somewhere in that early summer, June area anyway. So come on. What are we doing here?
Say.
Help us out, please. Save the winter coats.
You're not wrong, bro. Or, Mick, you know how we could solve this? We could just move this show to somewhere warmer.
That's it. I mean, and we can do it outside.
Oh, there you go. Poolside. Now we're talking.
That's it. Poolside.
You can hear the seagulls and birds in the background.
That's it. You know what? Nothing's going to happen on the show. You're just going to hear waves and breeze and Hey, can I get another diet soda over here, please? I'll tell you what, ain't much music talk going to go on.
No. Little splish splashing from the pool.
Oh, I didn't get that gig? Okay. Can I get another diet soda over here? Oh, the record label didn't like what I submitted? Oh, okay. Yo, you guys got pretzels? Yeah, bring them over too. Thank you.
Can you pass me the 15 sunblock, please?
That's right. Like, I don't care about any of that anymore. No, I'm done with it. I don't, you know what I mean? I may be done with it after this show. I don't know. But that's how it's going, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Change the holiday. So, you know, maybe things would be a little better. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It would definitely help the seasonal depression, right? Like, we'd still have the seasonal depression, but if you put Christmas in a warmer climate, like, you know, you're dealing with sunshine, everything is up, right? Like, everybody feels good, the sun's shining, so, you know, it just brings Christmas to a whole new level.
Whole new level. Paul Mark's already started it. They started with only a couple weeks. Now they got the whole month of July, Christmas in July. So is it that much different? Okay, so now they're starting in April instead of October. April, May, June, July. Boom! They get their 3.5 months, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
And then they can actually start doing some real Halloween type of stuff, some Thanksgiving type stuff. I don't know. What do I know?
They need to figure that out.
Yeah, well, I guess they do. I don't know. Well, they do. I think they have it figured out on their pay channel now.
Oh, okay. Are you paying for that channel?
No, I ain't paying for none of that. I don't pay for nothing. If you've been listening to this show the last 8 seasons, you know I don't pay for anything. At least voluntarily, I do not pay for anything.
Exactly. It's a crazy thing. I think that Hallmark, to be honest, I think they're missing out. They should do more Halloween and Thanksgiving movies. I think
they probably should. And we probably should get more topics because apparently we're running out of them because we're talking about things that have nothing to do with the premise of this show. So, you know, we're in trouble.
Well, that's not necessarily true because everybody knows that's been listening for a while. They know you're the Christmas guy, you know, and we're getting into warmer season. So, you know, you're going to be celebrating Christmas shortly. Like it's going to be around the corner for you.
Yeah. Before you know it. It's all good. What are you going to do? You just take it as it comes. This is the way we do it. So we're musicians, artists, performers. We take it as it comes. So we should be kind of used to it, right?
We live by the night, brother.
Yeah.
We're like bats.
Yeah, we're bats. All right. I can't see in the daylight or the nighttime, so I don't know, man. I'm just one of those guys just waiting there. Can I cross the street now? Yeah. Hurry up. Anything coming? No, but you better hurry. Okay. So.
It's Russ the Boss.
Take it down.
Johnny D from Britney Fox.
This is Stephen Piercy from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
Anything music related we should talk about before we get to today's show, the topic?
Well, you know, man, at the recording of this, you mean in the business or you mean me personally?
Both. Let's talk about you personally. What's more exciting?
Me personally. Well, at the time of recording this, I am currently, said a couple episodes ago, I'm back in my former band and we're busy. We are looking ahead to ending the new year pretty busy, and hopefully within 2027 we're going to have a busier year and hopefully have some new music. We are kind of demoing stuff now. A lot of the stuff that we're kind of revisiting now demo wise for another record is stuff that I had recorded back originally and it was just never used for their last record. So once I got back in the band, I talked to my guitar player and we started to revisit some of those songs. Because for me, it's just kind of a refresher. For him, he wrote them, so he's refreshed. And then we just have to teach my drummer and bass player, and they're pretty, quick learners. So, so we're looking to go in and maybe do a song or two and release it just digitally, and then get ready for hopefully a full length, and hopefully that'll be in 2027.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So, the songs that we've revisited, I really enjoyed doing them back in the day. So to kind of have them back in our repertoire, I was pretty excited about, especially, songs that I knew. Like, it's nice just to go, oh, yeah, I still, I had a lot of these songs still in my files in my email. And I go, yeah, I just got my vocals were on them too, because I demoed them. Like, the songs were complete. I just demoed them. It never saw the light of day. Some of them, not all of them. So it's easy just to go back and go. I mean, you record all the time. You're constantly recording, so you can always go back and go, oh yeah, I remember this. And
right.
It kind of works faster, right? Because you're already familiar with it, and you just kind of have to. You're not marinating with those songs or lyrics, right? It's already done.
Right. You're picking up right, kind of pretty much where you left off. You're just picking up right from there.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing. Like, everything is done. We didn't, we changed a part back to its original way, because once I was gone from the band, it was demoed again, but in a different version. Well, we went back to my original version, so we're just kind of, those guys are just kind of refreshing on, or I should say my guitar player's refreshing on the original version. The other guys are learning the original version. So, yeah, man, it's been really busy. And unfortunately, in this day and age, which you and I have been talking about for a number of seasons, the music business is such a crazy place. And even though we are full steam ahead and things are happening, nothing's really confirmed because everything costs so much. And it's hard to really plan because some things just fall to the wayside or they just crumble. And, so there's always talk about things and places to go and shows to do, but it really, and I see it now more because I'm really back in the thick of it, that some shows just don't happen because of money or traveling issues. There's so many travel issues right now between visas, and at the time of recording this, we are what's the Homeland Security, right? Like they're on strike, and people flying, it's just insane, and gas prices have gone up, so everything's going up, and at this stage of the game at the time of recording this. So, we're never really sure what's going to actually happen. Like, I could sit here and rattle off 10 shows that we're planning on doing. I don't know if 10 of them is actually going to happen because it's such a weird time right now, especially anything out of the country. A lot of the stuff we have in talks are out of the country, but will they actually ever see the light of day? I don't know.
Yeah, it is a crazy time, especially right now as we're moving into maybe a prolonged conflict overseas, which is affecting a lot of prices here. It's sending people into mental disarray. Prices across the board for everything are starting to go up. Whether it's necessary or not, people just are doing it because, like I said before, if COVID taught us anything, it's basically, why not? We can price gouge regardless and use the same issues as everybody else. When things go up, they seldomly really ever go back to where they were. They will go down, but never as low as you hope. And then we live in a new reality of how we spend until that happens again. And we're overpaying for things that we shouldn't be overpaying for, and we're getting smaller amounts. Again, we are definitely seriously in trouble because now we're talking politics, socialism, and economics on a music podcast.
But that's the thing, right, Mick? Like, for these shows to happen, for travel to happen, and these companies, whether it's airlines, whether it's rental cars, like whatever it is, that's what I see. People will pay for it. We talk about tickets, right? We talk about concert tickets all the time. People will pay it, so it'll never change.
Right.
We just have to stop paying it. That's when it'll change. But it's just one of those things that we've really seen since COVID. Everything kind of went up, and nobody really took it back down because people were spending the money.
Right.
I mean, companies are making more money, and same thing with travel. There's so many big bands right now that they're just canceling tours because they can't get it. They just can't do it. They just cannot.
Well, the thing is people buying a ticket, that's kind of a one and done thing, right? It's just say, I'm a big concert goer. Well, how many? I do maybe 3 or 4 a year. Okay. And then somebody else does 10, one person does 1. And so it's not an ongoing thing. They do with whatever extra money they have, they go see these shows. But the band that's making this part of their life, part of their livelihood, it's not one and done. It's not just one show that they go see in their local hometown. It's a series of shows. And as you and I were talking before we went on air, it's not just playing the show. It's everything. Probably playing the show is the easiest part of it all. It's everything else. It's equipment and rentals, and it's transportation. We're talking flights. We're talking vehicle rentals. We're talking lodging, gas, incidentals. Then you're talking food, and you're talking probably insurance, just down the line. If you're bringing a crew or you're getting people there and what you have to pay to here, to that, and the other thing. That's where it's getting difficult. And as you said, there's bands of a higher caliber They're not even doing it. They're like, we're just going to wait it out, see what happens. Maybe a couple things here or there. I know that just recently, as of this podcast, and again, it'll probably be outdated by the time this goes live, but, Zakk Wylde is doing a free concert, like online or something like that, in honor of Ozzy, but he probably got a bunch of sponsors to pay for all that. So he's offering it for free. But again, you're talking somebody at the top echelon that can get this done. So grabbing big name sponsors, I'm not talking about, your local landscaper and the pizzeria around the corner, which, hey, they're just as good depending on your level. But he's talking about you're probably going to have millions of viewers. So that impact to those sponsors is pretty huge, which just increases awareness for all involved, right? Zakk Wylde, his band, Black Label Society, their streams will go up, which greatly affects their bottom line. And the fact that Ozfest is coming back, this only, ignites that excitement even more. I'm sure this is all part of the structure to get this to really happen. And then, you're off and running. And those sponsors, chances are, will be brought in for the long haul, and everybody makes out.
Yes. And it's one of those things where Zakk Wylde, and to be honest, and I truly believe this in my heart of hearts, he's like, you know what I want to do? I want to do a free show, and I want to play Ozzy, and says to his people, let's make this happen. And then they probably keep coming back to him and go, well, we need this. You got to do this. You got to do this. He's probably like, oh my God, like really? Like all this just to play a free show? Because when it comes to money and sponsorships, everybody's got to get their hands in it, and lawyers and agents, and how we're going to stream it and who's going to pay. And so his idea went from something so simple. He probably should have just did it himself. He probably should be like, you know what? I'm getting a YouTube channel and I'm going to fire it up for my phone and just be done. Right. And again, bro, it's just like this. I'm going to talk about it, but I don't know that much details at the time of recording this. So I don't know if you saw this. Lamb of God reported that they were going to do a small intimate show here in Philadelphia. Tickets were going to be $15, right? Right. It's a lottery. So, and from what I'm understanding, and unfortunately I don't have all the info in front of me, but from what I'm understanding, it is a complete disaster. Like, people were today, at the time of recording this, they were supposed to find out if they were getting tickets. So apparently you paid your $15, it was like a hold, and then you put in your name and stuff, and then I guess they drew you from a hat. I have no idea. From what I read, like before we went on the air, it's just been like, now it's sold out, but this record store is going to have tickets, and you got to go there to get your ticket. Like, dude, it's just something so simple, because there's so many people involved, just became a complete cluster. It's just how this is, man. And where the band should have been like, you know what, we should have just booked the show, showed up, and whoever can get in, getting in. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, because it's just a nightmare, and that's just the way this industry is anymore. It's just a nightmare because there's so many people involved, and it's all about the bottom dollar at the end of the day.
People want to stay up and running. I get that. I'm assuming it's still in the works that it's going to happen, but there runs the huge risk that it doesn't, because of all this clustering going on. And then know who looks like the bad guy at the end of the day? The band does. The band does. The face of it, right? So they say this, and then everybody's angry at them. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they? Truth of the matter is, they're not the ones making the final call, unless they're putting the money up themselves. And then, like you said, they're probably just going to do it from their garage on a YouTube channel. But probably with their agreements and their partnerships and so on, they probably can't do that. The brands out there, we have to make some kind of money on this. Just like Metallica selling tickets for their Las Vegas residency at the Sphere. They had to add 20 more dates, but then a couple days later, James had to come out and say, listen, we're really sorry about all these ticket price gouging, and because they have no idea. They probably opened up their social media and was like, oh my God, what's happening? Because everybody's complaining about prices. But they probably had nothing to do with it. They probably were like, listen, we're going to do this and tell their people, figure it out. Let's go. Like you said, they're the face of it. So everybody's like, oh, Metallica, they're doing this. So they don't need the money. And they're like, whoa. Like, we had no idea that this was even happening. So now they got to backtrack and figure out what the problem is and try to solve that problem. Especially at their level. The venue didn't say, hey, you got 25 tickets, you got to move or you got to pay for them. No, right. Oh, I don't sell tickets. I don't know anything about tickets. They don't even discuss tickets. Okay. Not my world, but I get what you're saying. But yeah, but somebody like Lars and James, they're not going door to door. Hey, listen, I got I got some discounted tickets for our Vegas residency. Would you be interested? No.
I'm going to buy one, get one.
Okay. No. Well, is there anybody else in the house that may? No. All right, Lars, let's go to the next door. Let's split up and get to lunch faster. All right, you want to get to the topic of the show?
Let's do this, sir.
All right, the topic of the show is our seasonal Q&A. Q&A. Woohoo!
Woo, Q&A.
So a couple months back, we put out a post. Hey, we're collecting questions for our upcoming season Q&A episode. And, we got a small handful this time around. Numbers are going down. What do you expect? It's expensive out there. Everybody's on internet radio now listening, so the numbers are crazy. All right, buddy, I know you haven't seen any of these questions. You like to be shocked by them. So I'm going to say the question and you answer it. And then
sounds good.
If I have something to say, I'll say it as well. All right, question number 1. You guys talk about how tough it is for bands, playing, booking, getting heard, even dealing with other bands. With all that, why do you still do it?
I don't know. Next question. We have talked about this, and I could tell you that there's just something in us, musicians, artists, where that creative passion is just in our soul. And I know it's hard to describe to people, and I totally respect that, and I understand it, because people that don't have that in them, they don't understand. They go, why do you do it? Why do you travel to play for a half hour in front of 20 people, right? I don't know if I'd be able to explain it. The only thing I can say, for me, and I can't speak for you, Mick, obviously, but for me, when I'm not doing it, something is just not right. And what I mean by that is, I can complain that I'm busy, I can be so tired, driving a lot, rehearsing, but once I step in that room, man, it's like a whole different world. When you're creating with people, even just you and I, like just sitting here doing the podcast, when you're creating, when you're expressing yourself, whether it's in a podcast or whether you're doing it musically, if you're writing music, writing lyrics, you just feel a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day. So when you're not doing it, and I spent a year not doing it. You spent many years not doing it early in your career. It just always feels like there's just something missing. And I know that sounds odd. I don't know how else to explain it. Like when I was down for the past year, and even though I was keeping busy with the Hereafter stuff, we had the podcast and yada, yada, there's still that I'm not playing music. Like I'm not creating music. I'm not playing live. I'm not in a room sweating and screaming my head off, or, I'm not traveling to shows and performing for people, or, just being able to talk about when someone says, hey, are you in a band? What's the name of your band? Like even to those little minute things, it's just in us, and it's hard for us to give up. And that is why you see a lot of these guys and girls of an older generation of bands still doing it, because they don't know what else to do. It's the only thing they've ever done. Could it be narcissistic, egotistical? Okay, I'd have that conversation. When you have that creative, when you have that passion and it's not being fulfilled, that's a hard pill to swallow, because you just feel like something in your life isn't right. You could have the greatest, and I do, I'm very blessed with my life, but when I'm not playing music, I have a wobbly wheel. Like my car's not running straight. It's leaning to the right, like a shopping cart. It's just how it is. It's just not, like my shopping cart's fantastic. It's built great, looks great, but I just have that one wheel that just doesn't keep me straight in line. And for me, like that's what performing and writing and creating and being in a band is. It's a part of who we are. You can ask any musician, probably 80% of us will tell you that it's just something in us that we don't know what we would do if we weren't doing it.
I agree. It's a part of you. It is you. It's an extension of you. It's all that wrapped up. And even when I wasn't doing it, there was a number of years I wasn't doing it. But I thought about it, and there was still that essence in me. I mean, I would still sometimes write lyrics down, and knowing that I wasn't going to do anything with it especially at that time, but I kept them. And, you think about this, and you think about, I could do something like that, or all this other stuff that sometimes, because, we didn't get into it because of all this other stuff. One, we didn't know about it. None of that even existed. We just got up and played.
Yep.
And maybe that's the naive, young and dumb, and full of you get into this mindset. Like, for some of us that started out young, it's ingrained in you. Like, you're groomed into just the playing portion of it. Then you find out about all this other business stuff, and you're like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And the way it's been changing so much, especially for the independent artist, it's just, how do you navigate through something that's actually built to keep you out? It's very difficult. Part of the complaining with any artist, Michelangelo did a lot of complaining, Leonardo did a lot of complaining. To do what you're doing, you got to be a little nutty. And there's this constant love-hate relationship. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to do it. That's what actually fuels a lot of the passion, the love-hate. Because you're having both extremes. It's the yin and the yang, right? It's the night and the day. It's the front and the back, so on and so forth. So why do we still do it? Well, that's a question we ask ourselves all the time. I'm not even sure there's an actual answer. We do it because it's innate to us. There's something inside. And that's it. You can't totally explain it. I'm sure it doesn't come up on an MRI. And I'm most positive, even if you spend a lot of money and you feel loopy, there's no medication that'll fix it. All right, the next question. Does being in one genre over another have its benefits in terms of an artist's chances of success? Chris, what do you think?
Wow. I've never really thought of it that way. I mean, I spent many years in 2 different genres. I mean, I probably spent 12 years in 2 different genres. I had a death metal band and then a thrash metal band. So I don't know. I didn't really look at it like that. I mean, sure, you could always, there's always that argument, right? Where one could kind of, this genre could do better than another genre and your band could take off. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how to answer that, to be honest. I've never given it any thought. I guess in theory or on paper, it would make sense. But I never did 2 different genres at one time for any other reason except for just opportunities. And what I mean by opportunities is not necessarily even being successful. I just was in a thrash metal band and I wanted to do death metal on the side. Then I found a death metal band and I just kind of stuck with that. So I really did it because it just kind of kept me busy, really. I was able to fill up 2 cups of my passion.
There you go. Let's just say you're a local or regional band. If your goal is to play out, to work, possibly get paid, reach the people, being some form of metal probably isn't your way to go.
Right.
If you're looking to do all original, I know that's not a genre, but original metal, it's a great scene, but it's a limited scene. It's so niche, they haven't even turned the lights on yet. It's still in the closet anymore. So, again, if you're looking to work, that may not be the genre that you want to go. So, rock, hard rock, contemporary adult, with a little bit of upbeat to it. Even an alternative flow, modern alternative, seems to be doing a lot better. Because you'll hold a crowd, you'll draw a crowd, you don't scare a crowd away. I can't tell you how many shows I've been on where we probably were put on the bill incorrectly in terms of maybe where we were put or they didn't read the room and the crowd walked out. Not because we were horrible, per se, but because they just weren't prepared for that volume, intensity type of music.
Right.
It's a harder thing. I also truly believe that discovery, it's manufactured more now today than I think it's ever been. Because there's not scouts out there. So if you're a metal band that thinks you're going to get picked up somewhere in the States, it's far and few between, man. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that. However, the chances are so slim these days as they once were. Because nobody's out looking. Because nobody's looking to invest in a band anymore. They want you coming in pretty much full throttle.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Good luck. Whatever you do choose. I mean, actually, at one time, rap was the way to go. But rap has had a decline over the last 5, 6, 7 years. 10 years, technically.
It definitely has.
It's still doing. It's doing. But it's definitely not pulling in the numbers, especially cross demographics, as it once did.
No, yeah, correct.
Okay. All right, next question. If everything now is pay to play or pay to be heard, where does that leave the artists and the bands that are looking to make a go of music as a long-term career? What other options do we have besides just playing local bars? Chris.
Mick, repeat that for me one more time.
Oh, my God. All right. If everything now is pay to play, remember, we only have an hour. If everything now is pay to play or pay to be heard, where does that leave the artists and bands that are looking to make a go of music as a long-term career? What other options do we have besides just playing local bars?
And correct me if I'm wrong. You may have a better idea or a better answer. I don't know if there is. To me, and we've said this many times on the show, I go, you do what you got to do to get heard, no matter what it is. Pay to play, stream, whatever it is. I don't know if I have an answer for that except just do what you have to do. I mean, there's no guarantee that you're going to be heard because there's so much content out there and there's so much content every day. So, there's no guarantee you're going to be heard. You just have to just do what you have to do to try your best to get heard. If you have to pay to play, then you pay to play. If it makes sense. Of course it has to make sense. If you're going to pay to play and play in front of nobody, well, then that doesn't make sense. But if you're going to pay to play and there's going to be guaranteed people there, well, then that makes sense. Because then hopefully, if there's 20 people in the crowd and 2 like you, well, then that's 2 more people that like you than you had when you got there. So my answer to that is just, I don't know if there's any one thing. Just do whatever you can do to get heard. Just do everything.
They use the term long-term career. I mean, technically, you can have a career in music and not be a nationally known recording artist, right?
Right. Yeah,
you could have a career being in a professional wedding band, and you know what some of those guys make. You could make a career in music with you an acoustic guitar and book yourself out. Now, again, this almost goes back to the question before, if you think about it. If you pick certain genres, like if you're doing adult contemporary, you could be working all the time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's a mix of maybe a little bit of original, a little bit of cover, things of that nature. So you can have a career. I'm not 100% positive that you could raise a family of 5, have a $600,000 home, that kind of thing. Maybe you could, maybe you can't if that's your only job. But if you were single, maybe married, and you had a nice little apartment, you may be able to live off of that. Of course, you're going to be paying your own insurance and things like that. But at the same time, I know several people, several groups, several individuals that have a career. They tour all over, not just in the States, mini tours, big places, but they don't have a national recording contract with any label or anything like that. They're well known in this circuit, and they do well. I've been to a couple of the shows, and they are well attended. And if you asked metalheads, they probably wouldn't know who they were. Maybe some. Right. But, it could go back to what you deem as a career. Now, I understand what you're saying. Like, what other options do we have besides playing our local bars? Well, that's tough. Because I think what they're trying to say here is, and we talked about this before, you want to play that next level, you got to pay to get in there. And even that, like we talked about this in other shows, what place,
there's no guarantee,
what venue, there's no guarantee, but what venue brings you up to another level?
Right.
You could have a run at it, people like you get paid. I've talked to guys that, play with some major people, and they've been hired guns their whole life. And they have a decent salary. They're not living like Gene Simmons, but they are working constantly, not just with the major act. They're working with a few other acts simply because they don't have publishing, they don't have rights to this, they don't own this. They're just hired guns.
Right.
So it all depends on what kind of career you want. We've talked about this before. You could be a hired gun, you could be a studio guy, you could fall into other aspects of the music industry like engineering, mastering, mixing. You could be the guy that carries the cables and the coffee. I mean, whatever, you know what I mean? I know that may not be what you're looking to do because you're talking about being in a band or an artist, but depends on what you want to have as a career. If not having a record label is not part of your idea of having a career, well, then like Chris said, you got to just do what you got to do to get heard.
You are listening to The Cosmick Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
All right, next question. Do you feel bands that have a female in the lineup are often given more opportunities, even if the music isn't that good? I think we actually talked about that in a recent episode, didn't we?
We did. Well, kind of, yeah.
I'm not saying hands down it's 100%. That's true for everybody. But I've been with some bands that do have a female in it, and neither the band nor she is any good, but it does bring out people simply because most men in the fandom section demographic do listen with their eyes. And we've said that before. I don't think I'm talking out of school or saying anything derogatory about anybody. A lot of times it's calculated. What do you think, bud?
I think that because there's so many women now in hard rock heavy metal, back 7-10 years ago, I would think differently. But I think now, because there's so many women in hard rock and heavy metal, that it's not really different anymore. Like before, back in the day, you'd be like, oh my God, like it's so different. But I don't think, there's so many, even just full female bands. I think it's such a thing where you just go, I don't think it's like it used to be. I think it's out there, absolutely, but I don't feel like it was back in the day.
Well, no, it's not a novelty the same way as it was, but
that's
because
the word
it's
I'm
still
looking
a
for.
small percentage compared to a male-dominated industry, it does a lot for some opportunity that doesn't always happen for an all-male band. Again, I'm not saying it is a bad thing. I mean, if it's a calculated branding, then you do it. I mean, what are you supposed to do? But I think this person's saying that they're seeing that maybe sometimes the music isn't that good, and that's true. But listen, it's true about 4 or 5 guys. Sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of that out there that the music isn't really that good. And unfortunately, most of the music industry, that's where it leans towards. It's not good.
Right.
Right? My stuff may not be that good. I mean, hence where I'm at. But the point is, we all think it has something, but only a small percentage of people ever achieve that certain level. And again, we could go back to the question before. You could be not that good, but still have a career. I've seen a lot of cover bands that have a somewhat of a career that may not be that good. And listen, you have your national or big name acts that you're like, I don't ever thought that they were that good, but they have a career. So it's subjective. There's a subjectiveness to it. But I think what this person's saying more from an artistic standpoint is the music really worth listening to just because they may or may not have eye candy. I don't know. Listen, I don't make those kind of decisions from experience. I'll tell you what, we did have a female singer for a while, and I did see numbers go up. We got rid of the female singers, and those numbers dropped. Never seen those fans again. I don't know if I ever wanted to see them in the first place, but I knew what kind of fans we were starting to get at that point. I seen it. There was a huge difference in the way they looked, acted, talked, what they were trying to get, that kind of thing. That's just my opinion. All right, next question. You guys have talked about AI making the creation of music available to anyone and everyone, non-artist types included. You've also talked about limitations in places to perform original music, not drawing, the bands that are willing to pay to play, taking the opportunities. How do you see that affecting your own careers? This is, I guess, directed to the both of us. And do you think it will ever go back to the way it was? The way we were. So how do you see that affecting your career, Chris? AI, limited places to perform, original music not drawing the same way as it once did, and bands that are willing to pay to play are taking all the opportunities at the limited places to play.
We've pretty much touched on every one of those subjects pretty much this season, right? Like, all of those things have definitely affected guys like you and I and on our bands, our projects. Like, we're all affected by it all. Because you and I may use, an artist for our album covers, or you're a graphic designer, or we don't use AI, or we don't pay to play. And we just talked about it pretty recently. Like, if there's someone that's willing to do that, and that puts them a step ahead, and it doesn't further our careers, I mean, that's just the nature of the business. That's how it is. They're willing to do things that we're not willing to. We know that sacrifice, and we chose not to do that. So I think it's already affected us. I think it's affected everybody, all of us, every musician, every artist. It's been affecting us for the past couple of years. But like you always say, and you always wave this flag, just like anything else, it will be full circle eventually. Everything comes back. In a number of years, we'll get more clubs, less bands, different music. It just has to cycle through this time period. We just have to kind of wait it out and see what ends up on the other side. Music is always kind of in and out. There's always, what's here today is gone later today kind of attitude. Like I said, just like you always say, it will circle back It always does. It just always does.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, has this change among a bunch of other changes affected my career? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've talked about it on the show. We play a lot less, one by choice, but that was a choice we made some time ago. But since the bottom fell out, we're playing less because there's less places to play. And as we talked about, this buy-on thing, I just refuse to kind of do it. And a lot of times we're offered stuff. We were just offered something last night, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to. It's just not worth it, because in that moment it seems exciting. It's like, yeah, why not? What the heck? But then you're like, well, what's the next day? Like, do you feel cheap? Do you move on? Right, you're just kind of filling in a space. Listen, I fill in enough space. I don't need to fill in somebody's space for somebody else because that's all they're looking for. So it's a choice. Some of this is a choice, and some of it is this is what we're faced with. So these are the challenges. And as Chris said, you just got to make the choices that you want to do. I mean, so it has affected me. Do things come back around? Absolutely. Look, vinyl's back. It's a hot new thing now.
Yeah.
It sells more than CDs, even though CD sales have been down for 20 years since digital streaming or downloading and all that stuff. But vinyl's come back again. Is it going to be the major listening device? Absolutely not. Your phone's going to be. It's going to remain that way. But things do come back around. Will things go back to the way they were? Well, never. Once the change is made, that's it. Because if that is the case, we'd still be walking around with Frankie Goes to Hollywood shirts on. Even though I know there's people that do. A couple of years ago, my singer, whose name is Frankie, he asked me, can you do a Frankie Says shirt? And I go, yeah, what do you want? He goes, Frankie says, let's go to war, which is something he says at the beginning of one of our songs. It has that premise in it. So I go, okay. But you know what? The joke didn't go over well with modern day people, So guess what? He doesn't wear that shirt anymore. I had a one-off done. It cost me an arm and a leg. Thank you. That was the worst wardrobe choice we could imagine.
Imagine if he wore that today. Woof.
Yeah, I know. It would go nuts.
Woof.
People go nuts. Woof. But it's just like, things won't go back to the way they were. They'll find a new normal. If we're going to be part of this, and I've said this time and time again, this is not for the faint of heart. Believe me, because I'm ready to put, my white flag up myself. I get it. I'm there. I'm right there. That's just the way it works. But we're faced with these challenges all the time. We just have to choose what we want, which goes back to these other questions, the previous questions. What's your long-term career goals? In this world today, you can choose any way you want. You can do it any way you want. If you only want to do it part-time, great. If you only want to do it half a year, great. I know some musicians that only play in the summertime at the shore points, and then the rest of the year they don't do anything. They go back to their regular life and blah, 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 and they do their thing. They actually make enough money, especially if you play them shore points and then you're doing adult contemporary with a little bit of cover stuff. They're working pretty much 7 days a week, and they can do multiple sets, so on and so forth. So it all depends on what you want. Plus, you shack up down the shore. Can't beat that. All right, buddy, let's see. Last question. How different really is a regular local band compared to a national touring band? How differently, really, is a regular local band compared to a national touring band? Chris, what do you think?
Such a great question. One, touring, and if they're national, then they probably get an easier way to get people to the show, because if they're national and they're touring, then people know who they are. Other than that, there's really not. It really comes down to the difference between a national, and let's call it like a smaller national, right? Like, obviously, we're not talking Metallica or Taylor Swift, like whatever. We're talking like brewery-sized hard rock heavy metal bands, nationals. The only difference is, besides just the name, you're selling the name and people are going to show up. They're not, listen, them guys, the nationals are not, for the most part, they're not out on Facebook, begging people to come to the show. Because people are coming. That's why they're a national touring band. Other than being a national touring band, they're legit as nothing. There's no difference whatsoever. Because you guys, my band, we could plug in and play and go. We could do the same route. We could do the same tours, that a lot of these smaller bands are doing. So no, there's no difference. The only difference is exactly what it sounds like. National touring. That's it. That is it. And some have a guaranteed crowd. I mean, listen, not for nothing, I've seen smaller nationals that are on tour that I'm sure you've seen it too, that we as the locals drew more than them. So honestly, there is no difference except maybe Maybe they have some money backing. Who knows? But the only difference is, to me, they're a national touring and you're the local. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, playing wise, listen, I know, there's some local guys, regional guys that are unbelievable players. And I've seen guys that aren't that great of players, but they still do what they do very well. Yes. So sometimes it's how that band functions together. And I think it's an attitude thing, right? I mean, a national has a different attitude simply because, like Chris said, they are a national. There's a little bit of weight behind their name, regardless of what that, right? The local, not so much. They're a big fish in a little pond, so to speak, where the national covers a little bit more ground. There could possibly be, of course, more shows under their belt, which gives the feeling of a little bit more at ease and well-groomed to be up on stage. I agree with Chris. You get a good local regional band, and you give them the same circuit as one of these smaller nationals that are doing, big breweries or little theater things. Some of these guys, they're going to run the roost. Their music is just as good. They know how to handle themselves on stage. They just didn't have the outlets that these other bands have been able to achieve. For whatever reason, that runs the gamut, how they got there. But I think the biggest difference is how the audience perceives them. So that in itself could change the entire course of the show. Just because a national's coming in, people get excited about that. They may not even like their music. They may not even be playing that well. Listen, may his soul rest in peace, but I've seen Ace Frehley a few times in recent years, and they were some bad shows. He was all over the place, wasn't playing. Those videos weren't lying, because I seen it firsthand. But the crowd still went crazy. They still loved it because they had Ace Frehley from Kiss on the brain. So sometimes it creates a little bit of fog and haze. There's smoke and mirrors there. So where the local is just, hey, that's right, just a local. Real quick, I was on a recent national show. I was invited to play. I got a call. I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do that show. Why not? Great little place. It wasn't really a little place, but it was a very nice place. And when we got there, the whole attitude changed, even after the invite, that, we're just a local band. And listen, we are. But we're also a regional band, and we're also a band that's traveled nationally and internationally. I don't sell us like that, because that's we've played this, but we are not that type of band, simply by choice right now. And I knew that, and man, I'll tell you, it put me in a bad way. So I had a meeting with the band. I said, listen, we do our thing. Don't worry about it. They can think whatever they want to think. Well, we sound checked. We were good enough to get a sound check, thank you. And attitudes changed, but still kept their distance because we're just a local band. We played the set, blew the doors off that place. So much so that the band after us, they were kind of like almost a co-headliner. We weren't even finished our set, and they had to be on stage to take the attention off. And I knew it. I was like, there was some other shady stuff that was going on during our set, but I'm not going to get into any of that. But that's sometimes what happens. So your local band may be just as good, maybe even better than some of these nationals, because some of them nowadays just rest on their laurels or their name. That's my personal opinion. To me, that's the biggest difference that I've ever seen. I've seen some opening bands that were local or regional to that area that opened up for the nationals that I was on the bill with that I enjoyed way better than some of the nationals that you're on. You're like, oh, wow, I expected more. And when you're a real good, and I've talked about this before, when you're a real good local or regional band opening up for a national, and you change that perspective, like, wow, I didn't expect that. Because most people expect, well, it's just a local band. That's what I mean. The audience does that all the time. Oh, I didn't expect you guys to be like that. I didn't expect that sound. Wow, that's amazing. That type of thing. That's because that's the mentality when a local band opens. And that's part of the problem with the scene.
Yeah.
Because now they're just fillers. Back in the 80s, when you and I were going to the shows, the local venues, every night, whatever bands were on the bill, you knew they were local or even regional bands. But, man, it was like a real show. These guys were entertainers, performers.
Yeah.
But, now you're kicked out of the venue. You're not allowed in. You can't do this, so on and so forth. These guys are playing the same waterhole you are, and they're in the back, under lock and key, like they're, sitting around with fold-out chairs. All right, buddy, I guess you're big time. Whatever. Well, anyway, so I don't sound any more disgruntled, that's it for the questions. Thank you for sending them in. And
Yes,
I always have a good time with the Q&A episode.
I love the Q&A.
It's kind of cool because people are experiencing a lot of different things, and there's so much mixed emotions today with everything. How do you handle this? How do you do that? We don't have all the answers. Even if you've been in the mix, sometimes the game keeps changing. You're like, well, wait a minute, that's new. Sometimes talking it out with people gives you an opportunity to work through it yourself. Even if you don't agree, you could find something that could work for you or that you could tweak.
Yeah.
What do you think, buddy? Got anything else you want to add?
No, man, I just want to say thank you for the questions. I love this. I love when we do these Q&As. That's why we save them for the end of the season, because we always look forward to them. So these are probably some of the best questions we've had. Definitely good thinking questions for sure.
Absolutely. If you like that episode, check out some of our other episodes at www.thecosmickvoice.com. Step into the Cosmic Verse and get your questions answered. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmic Voice. If you have a question, a topic idea, or something you want us to address, just contact us through our Facebook page at The Cosmic Voice. You can listen to The Cosmic Voice at Spotify, Breaker, Apple, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and at thecosmickview.com. Check us out on Facebook at The Cosmic Voice.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, Mick and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes of The Cosmic Voice. And you can get in touch with us through thecosmickvoice.com and, of course, all of the Cosmic Voice social medias. Take care and be safe.
You're listening to The Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.